I'm Harry Harris, London taxi driver and guide, and I'm on a history tour uncovering the links between the Nazis and my hometown of London, and even the links with Hitler himself. Before war broke out in 1939, it was quite normal for Germans to be living and working here, just as Brits were in Germany. But imagine this, two of Hitler's closest relatives moved into a fashionable part of North London. I'm now in Priory Gardens in Highgate, very near to the station, and I find it incredible to think that during the 30s this was the home to Hitler's sister-in-law, Brigitte Hitler, and her son, William, Adolf's nephew. The Hitlers moved here from Liverpool after Brigitte's husband, Alois, the Führer's brother, abandoned his family, went back to Berlin, got married bigamously, and ran a tea shop. Are you keeping up? Apparently the Hitlers were very good neighbours, but not very good at paying their bills, because Mrs. Hitler was due in court on the same day that her brother-in-law invaded Poland, but instead she fled to New York with her son. It seems there's no one left in Priory Gardens who had the Hitlers as neighbours. Ruth's lived here the longest, and she's a bit sceptical. What do you think of Mrs. Hitler living in your road?
I find it very hard to believe. Nobody's ever proved it. That makes a good story, but do you think it's really true?
Oh, it is true. She was here because she had to go to court when she lived here. So we know that she did live here.
For what?
She had to go to court for non-payment of rent on the day her brother-in-law invaded Poland. That is an amazing story.
That sounds to me very far-fetched.
No, why?
You think she really lived
Oh, no,
here?
no, she really lived here. She lived here with her son.
Now,
They
when
moved
you
here from
say
Liverpool.
she was a sister-in-law, how was the relationship?
She was married to Hitler's brother, Alois, and they lived in Liverpool together, and then he abandoned the family, went back to Germany, and she moved here with her son.
He did go back to Germany?
He did, yeah.
You mean he became a Nazi?
No, he went back to Germany, actually, and ran a tea shop.
I never credited the story, but maybe you're right. I just thought it was somebody wanting a nice story for the Ham and High at the time.
Yeah. Thanks for talking to us, Ruth.
You're
It's been
very
great.
welcome.
And I'm so pleased to have found you, because the people that live there now don't want their house to be identified.
I can understand that.
Yeah. The Hitlers left Highgate and settled in New York. Brigitte worked for a time for the British War Relief Society. William later renounced his uncle, the Führer, but when his son was born in 1949, gave him the middle name Adolf. There were others in London who were part of Hitler's personal life. I'm heading back into the city and to exclusive Knightsbridge, on the trail of an aristocratic family who became notorious because of their links with Hitler. I find it particularly disturbing, especially in the years leading up to the war, that there were so many people in this city that had great sympathy for Adolf Hitler. And there was one young debutante from one of England's oldest aristocratic families that was totally in love with the Führer. She was Unity Mitford, one of 6 daughters of David Freeman Mitford, the 2nd Baron Redesdale. Apparently, she was conceived near a gold mining town in Canada called Swastika, and it's reckoned her parents called her Unity because at the time they both wanted the First World War to end peacefully. But it was Unity's infatuation with the Führer that made her notorious. Just behind me is the Mitford family's London home at 26 Rutland Gate in Knightsbridge. When Unity was here, she shocked London society by wearing a fake tiara and taking her pet rat with her whenever she went to glamorous parties. But when she started greeting people by giving them the Nazi salute, they thought it was a prank. Well, at first they did anyway. But it soon became clear that this young socialite was deadly serious. She managed to become part of Hitler's inner circle in Germany and met him 140 times. And by all accounts, the Führer was quite taken with her too. I'm heading for Hyde Park, where Unity used to go to heckle the communists at Speaker's Corner. I'm meeting an expert on the Mitford family, Simon Rodway.
She liked to shock. You know, she's the middle kid.
She had a pet rat, is that right?
Exactly. She had a pet rat called Ratula.
Ratula,
and she had a grass snake called Enid. And, of course, she's...
Strange combination.
A rat and a snake, yes, you think they wouldn't get on, you know. She really couldn't find anything that engaged her, really. That was Unity's
So she was
problem.
a lost rich child, was she?
A lost rich girl, yeah.
Right.
And really, discovering Germany and German culture and German music and all this really saved her in the sense that it gave her a focus.
Yeah, give her a bit of a purpose. Unity had been introduced to Germany by her brother Tom and sister Diana. Diana married Sir Oswald Mosley, leader of the British Union of Fascists, whose members were commonly known as the Black Shirts. But characteristically, Hitler-obsessed Unity was to do something even more shocking.
She found a restaurant that Hitler was using in Munich, and well, she stalked him, really.
She stalked him?
She stalked Adolf, yes. And eventually, 1935, Hitler says, come on over.
So what do we know about Unity's relationship with Hitler?
The relationship with Hitler was, she kind of treated him like one of the sisters. So, and he found that completely unusual, the fact that he wasn't being deferred to particularly, just one of the family. And it was a relationship which became notorious, as it would do, with here's the leader of the Reich with the daughter of an English lord.
Yeah.
And she became known as Hitler's girlfriend.
She sounds like an amazing character, actually.
I guess we'll never know what Unity's relationship with Hitler was really like. But one thing's certain, it ended in tragedy.
Unity felt in her position she could help broker a peace really between Britain and Germany. Chamberlain declares war, of course, on the 1st of September 1939. 2 days later, Unity goes into the park opposite the apartment which in Munich, which Hitler had furnished for her, and takes out a pearl-handled revolver and shoots herself in the head. Doesn't do it very well. So Hitler keeps us very quiet because he's already had a young woman who was obsessed with him shoot herself, and so he pays for Unity's hospital. He gets a train to get her to Switzerland. Her mother and father come and collect her, and she's not a basket case for the next 10 years of her life, but she was pretty seriously disabled.
When the injured Unity returned to England, it was big news. The Baron's daughter never recovered from her injuries and died in 1948. It's quite disturbing to discuss